Hello there, my name is Jeff. You know, back in February of 2009, I started an internet video show called Saturday Morning Coffee with Jeff. It looks something like this. In fact, that's the very first episode right there. As time went on, it became Sunday Morning Coffee with Jeff, and it got longer and more involved, and some might say it might even have gotten boring. And I won't argue with that. In fact, by the time I quit making the show earlier this year, I was only getting about 10 views. Wasn't worth my time. But I enjoy working with video, so I thought I'm going to bring it back. But I'm going to go back to the original concept of Saturday Morning Coffee with Jeff. It's going to be short and sweet and to the point. Now, the concept of this new show is, well, you'll get the idea. It's going to be called Coffee and Beer, and hopefully it's going to be a weekly extravaganza under 6 minutes long, probably shorter than that. So I hope you enjoy the very first episode of Coffee and Beer. Thank you. Whatever happened to beer? It used to be the working man's drink, but now, back in the day, you got out of the factory or the coal mine, and after you made sure you still had all 10 of your fingers, you went to some stink hole to unwind. You sat on a rusty, uncomfortable bar stool and you ordered a beer. You didn't look on the menu or to see what kind of stout or porter they had on tap. You just asked for a beer, and if you got it in a clean glass, well, that was a good night. Those days are gone now. To be a beer drinker these days, you not only have to know what style of beer to drink, but how to taste and drink your beer and what kind of a glass to use. See this glass? This is what I often drink beer from. It's called a shaker pint, and I got it from a beer festival. Now, according to beer drinkers, this is the worst glass you can use to drink beer. There's a whole list of reasons of why this is the wrong glass. You know, personally, I thought as long as it held beer long enough to get it down my throat, well, everything was Jake. But according to craftbeer.com, the standard shaker pint glass is actually one of the worst things you can use for tasting beer. You know, we used to laugh at wine drinkers with all the rules and rituals and all the phoniness that entails. Well, congratulations, Mr. Beer Drinker. I hope you're proud of yourself. You've graduated into what I refer to as a beer snob.
So I'm sitting at the family picnic. Uncle Ted comes up, says, "Willie, you need a beer?" Said, "I'd love a beer." Looks at me and says, "You don't drink those fancy beers like those Beer Snobs, do you?" I said, "Fancy beers? You mean like those IPA flavored things?" He goes, "Exactly, the Beer Snob people beer." He said, "No, give me a good old domestic." He had a kind of weird look at him, but then he looked at me and I said, "A Budweiser or a Miller High Life?" The champagne, actually, it actually says it on the bottle, of beers. None of that Beer Snob IPA stuff for Uncle Ted and me.
I am from Milwaukee, and I'd like to send this out to all you beer snobs. You know, the one that just can't open a can of Miller Lite because, oh, that's just watered down crap beer. You know what I'm talking about. The ones that have to have the extra IPA and extra hops and extra barley and all that stuff. I kind of remember having extra hops and barley in my cereal, not my beer. I don't chew my beer. I like to drink it. If your beer is darker than your coffee, there's problems. In my opinion, your beer should be see-through and look like urine. If it's any other color, it's not a real beer. And these so-called craft beers, yeah, you drink craft beers because you're a snob. Everybody knows you go to a bar, you order a regular beer. If you got to start naming off 10 things after your beer label, you're a snob.
Hi, this is Brian from Harvard. I don't need any fancy beers, no fancy IPAs or imports. I'm happy drinking my Miller Genuine Draft.
Hi, this is Rich, and I'm from the Seattle area in Washington. I'm at work, and I'm here to talk to you about beer snobs, because I'm a beer snob. Now, on the whole, beer snobbery is a good thing. But you see, the thing about being a beer snob is that you can be a beer snob about any type of beer. I have friends that are beer snobs that will only drink Coors Light or Busch or Miller Genuine Draft or whatever. I'm a beer snob in that I don't of myself choose to drink those beers. I in fact choose to drink typically beers that were brewed in the Pacific Northwest of the United States of America. However, I will oftentimes find myself drinking imports and other type of beers. But I'm not what I would call the most excessive of beer snobs. The beer snobs that will only drink the highest of high-end, rarest of rare beers that cost, for whatever reason, $40 for a 20-ounce bottle or a 750 milliliter bottle, depending on what type of beer it is and how it was brewed and how it was stored and all that kind of fun stuff. But to me, beer snobbery, as with really pretty much any type of snobbery, is basically saying I prefer to only drink this type of beer, or I prefer to only have this type of thing. Again, I prefer Pacific Northwest beers. But that's not to say that if you were to hand me a Coors Light, if I'm at your house or wherever, that I wouldn't gladly accept it and drink it. Because after all, the best beer in the world is the one that's in my hand.
Alright, On the Road is back. We're off to Woodstock, to the square, to see my buddy Jimmy, Kevin, and Wayne, and Bad Penny, some acoustic stuff. That's all we got from Woodstock. Down the road. Later.
I'm drinking out of a glass my daughter got me from the Goose Island Brewery. I assume it's okay to drink out of this glass? I'm drinking Two Brothers Wobble IPA, one of my favorite beers. Yeah, I like a good craft beer, but I also can drink an expensive beer. A couple of weekends ago, I was drinking cheap beer using a plastic cup, and I started around 2 p.m. and was still drinking it around a campfire at midnight, and I had a wonderful time. But there's nothing wrong with drinking good beer, just like there's nothing wrong with drinking Miller Lite. If you enjoy drinking carbonated urine, right? All right, the beer snobbery is coming out again. I'm a bit of a beer snob, but I'm not really a beer snob. I mean, if this is what you enjoy drinking, more power to you. I mean, I would just pop this open. No, I can't. Yuck, I can't do that. But it doesn't make me a beer snob. It's just knowing what I like. Let's go back to the glass if you want to know about beer snobbery. According to the experts, there's a certain glass you need to use to drink a certain style of beer. And never ever wash your glass out with soapy water. And make sure that you wet it, that you rinse it out before you pour your beer into it. And you better pour your beer correctly. And never ever pour your beer into a frosted glass. Frosted glasses are a big no-no. And don't just drink it. There are 4 stages you must go through. You look, you agitate, you smell, and then you taste. And when you taste, do not swallow. Let it wander and explore your entire palate. Let your taste buds speak. And I actually read that on a beer website. That is what we're talking about when we talk about beer snobs. And if you want to be a beer snob and you're talking to beer snobs, you better know styles, IBUs, hops, sweets, and all that stuff. Myself, I just know what I like. And as long as you know what you like and you're happy, more power to you. Cheers. One last thing. If you want to invite me over to your house, whatever beer you have in your fridge, I'll drink it.
Simon Pure Beer presents Buster Keaton. When you bump into old friends, enjoy Simon Pure Beer. Simon Pure. The happier, hoppier beer.
I'd like to thank you for watching the first ever Coffee and Beer Show. Now this is going to be a weekly thing, hopefully posted by noon every Saturday, and each show is going to feature a subject. Now just like the 2 Brians, the Willy and the Rich did today, I encourage all of you to get your video cameras going and send me your comments about that week's subject. Like next week's show is going to be about coffee. You can send me a video about what kind of coffee do you drink? What do you think about these places like Starbucks? What do you think about people who drink these fancy designer drinks, the mocha, foam, latte, iced, whatever drinks, right? I have my own opinions, but I'd like to hear yours. Just keep your videos, under a minute. That would be wonderful. Again, I'd like to thank the 4 people who contributed to today's show, Brian, Rich, and Willy. Now, Rich is out of the state of Washington, and he has a vlog on YouTube, which is a wonderful blog, Rich Harris Vlogged, and I'll have a link to it underneath this video on YouTube. I suggest you go and check out a few of his other shows. He's a really interesting guy, and thanks again, Rich, for your contribution. So next week, coffee, and I know you all have cell phones, and I'll cell phone shoot video, so I don't want to hear excuses about how I don't have the ability to shoot video. Yes, you all do. Anyway, this is Jeff. Thank you so much for watching. Be back next week. Take it easy.